Hello. Hello, party people. How is everybody doing? How is everyone doing today on this fine Saturday? Yes, great. Okay, well, welcome back to Bible study. I took, if you would, a week-long Bible vacation. We'll see maybe the reason in a little bit. If you have not seen them already, oh my goodness, get ready, ladies and gentlemen, get ready. But let's go ahead and get where we were. We are going to talk about Jesus, of course, but before we do that, we are going to set the tone and see what the message is, after taking a little hiatus, after working very, very hard, had a great long week, as I'm sure everybody did. Busy week, right? Let's go ahead and see what the message is for today. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Okay. So, alright. This is from Surah 42, line 52. This is the Surah titled The Consultation, or Consultation. Let me just notate this and then go ahead and read it out here. Surah 42, line 52. And thus have we, by our command, sent inspiration to thee. Thou knewest not before what was revelation, and what was faith. But we have made the Qu'ran a light, wherewith we guide such of our servants as we will, and verily thou dost guide men to the straight way. So that is great. That is a message full of hope. Full of hope, in contrast to some of the last. See what is going on in just a little bit. Goodness. And thus have we, by our command, sent inspiration to thee. Thou knewest not before. I guess that's how you spell newest. Thou knewest not before what was revelation. And what was faith? But we have made the Qu'ran a light, wherewith we guide such of our servants as we will, and verily thou dost guide men to the straight way. Okay, sorry. A little lengthy of the typing there, minus the distractions, but let's go ahead and break it down slightly. It seems pretty straightforward. We see the good words like revelation and faith and light and straight way, which something that I do want to point out is these are all capitalized. So they are to be notated as proper, right? Usually proper nouns are capitalized. So we want to try to understand what is this revelation, because that was not known before. And we want to try to understand what is this faith that was not known before. Much like all of these, the Quran is of course capitalized. Something to point out with the Quran is very much what it is stated here, a light. It is a light. It is a very specific light. It is a beacon of hope and a means of motivation. Again, something I want to point out, the Quran was something I read even before I started breaking down the Bible and reading into the Bible. Of course, I read bits and pieces of the Bible growing up, but the Quran was the first book I actually read in full to get me through the darkest times and the most unsatisfactory times. So it's great to hear that this Quran is here for that purpose, as a light, as just another mode of understanding. Really helps anybody who is maybe struggling to really lift them out of whatever they are going through. Anyways, it is a light wherewith we guide such of our servants as we will, and verily thou dost guide men to the straight way. So something that is also notated as proper nouns and is capitalized is the words we and our, are the words we and our. So we've talked a little bit about this before. Why does the Quran, it does notate Allah, and it will capitalize Allah, of course. It does notate Lord, and will capitalize Lord, of course. But who is we, and who is our, capitalized with all of these other words that are so important? Allah, Lord, light, faith. So something to also really think about and remember as you take a closer look into the Quran, as I hope you all do very soon. So we, our collective, right? There's some sort of collective effort, even if it's just a limited collective effort. So something, again, I want to just emphasize on. So great. This is a great message of hope to revisit after just a very difficult period. Whether that period was periods of years or periods of months, or even if it was just the last few days. Something to definitely look into is this book right here. I would highly, highly recommend this. And sometimes the Bible is also that for a lot of people. But if you've read it before, read it a lot, it would be good to take a look at this and then go back and see how you can bring comparison and, messages from each after reading one or the other. On that note, we have not had any visitations yet, as far as what I'm sure will happen maybe in the next video here. But let me go ahead and get into Jesus feeding 5,000. And I would have thought that I made this video already, but I think it's just because I wrote it down. I think in my head, oh yeah, I did that already. But no, we did not do it yet. So let's go ahead and get into Jesus feeding 5,000 people, one of my favorite stories in the Bible, as I'm sure it is for most of you as well. We'll catch you in a second, and we'll lead with a quote, and then we'll get right into it. Thanks for listening.